So now we're on air. はい、どうも皆さんこんばんは。セレンです。そして、here is our co-host、大室さん。
Hey.
はい。English Hangout 101がやってまいりました。ですね、今日からちょっと昼間に、大室さんとミーティングをしたんですけども、せっかくね、その大室さんというですね、リソースがありながら、ずっと今まで日本語でやってたので、そして、この大室さんと発音にフォーカスしてやるのが今回と次回だけなんですね。この後はちょっと別のことをしようと思っているので、せっかくなので、その最後の2回含めて大室さん、今日から、基本英語でやっていただこうと思っています。Okay, so, 大室さん。It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I shouldn't be nervous because I should be used to speaking English, but yeah, it feels a little bit different.
Right.
But I would like to try to do this in English. Now, if you think something needs clarification, then please ask, and I will try to explain it in Japanese.
I'll let you know.
Or if you think you can explain things in Japanese for the listeners.
Okay.
I'm going to try to speak slowly and hopefully clearly so that everybody can understand me.
Okay, thanks. So for tonight, could you explain what we're going to focus on?
Okay. Today I want to talk about two common mistakes that I hear often made by Japanese people, and it's something that happens just because of the Japanese language that everybody's used to speaking.
Right.
All of the problems I'm going to talk about today are not. I'm not trying to be mean and say that Japanese people have a problem. I'm just trying to say that these problems are common to Japanese people just because of the language, the way the Japanese language is, and they bring certain tendencies to speakers.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's two big issues I have to talk about today, and they're actually kind of related, as I told you earlier, but they're kind of related, and the first one I want to talk about is consonant blends.
In Japanese.
子音連結。
子音連結。はい。Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So get started. Now, recently I have been giving I've been giving one-on-one instruction to some people, and many of these people that I'm talking to are pretty good at English. Obviously, some of them need improvement, and that's why they're talking to me. But I've also had the opportunity recently to hang out with a bunch of new people. I just met maybe 8 new people that I just met them, and they are all English learners. They're all Japanese people. They're learning English. Now, from the standpoint of me, me being a native speaker of English, I have been trying to figure out, because some people have a very natural sound to their English. They sound
Exactly.
more natural than other people, and I was trying to figure out what it is about the people who sound natural and the people who are not quite there yet. And one thing I noticed is the ability to pronounce consonant blends correctly.
Okay.
Consonant blends are something that happen in English, and they do not happen in Japanese. And this is why Japanese people can make a mistake with consonant blends pretty easily.
Exactly. Okay.
So I want to go over what consonant blends are. So I have some slides.
Okay, thanks.
But before I show you the slides, I want to talk about them.
Okay. Mhm.
So consonant blends, and like we were saying in Japanese, they're called shin renketsu.
Mm.
And that's when you have more than one consonant. A consonant in Japanese is shin.
Mm.
That means letters that are not vowels.
Mm.
And when you have more than one when you have more than one consonant
Mhm.
with no vowels in between, so you can have consonant, consonant, with no vowel in between,
Mhm.
then you have a blend. Okay. An example is the beginning of the word blend.
Blend. Mhm.
Yeah. Bl. Okay. If
Mm.
you can say the bl at the beginning of blend correctly, then that's pretty good. But the tendency is because Japanese does not have the concept of saying consonants without putting vowels.
Mhm.
In Japanese, it's always consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel.
Exactly.
If you have to say two consonants with no vowel in between, then it's a common thing for Japanese people to insert a vowel.
Right, right. We
So
tend to
let
do
me
that.
show you the slides now.
Mm. So, Omo-san, let me explain what you said in English just now.
Okay.
その、心連結っていうのは、いわゆるその、さっき大村さんが例に出してたブレンドみたいな BL とか、なんだろう、僕なんかが思いつくのは、ドラムとか、そうですよね。ドラムみたいな、
Yes, drum.
DR みたいなね、その、子音と子音がくっついて、その、ドラムとかブレンドみたいになるのが、日本語にはもともとないので、やっぱり僕たち日本人っていうのはその辺ちょっと苦手だよねと。で、ちょっとその辺今日、ちょっと大村さんと一緒に、ちょっとフォーカスして見ていこうっていう感じですね。
Yep.
Sorry for interrupting. So just go ahead.
Okay. So my slides here are just going to be about consonant blends, the first one. And I just have a huge list of, these are examples of consonant blends.
Wow.
This looks like a long list.
But all of them should be difficult for Japanese people.
Difficult, yeah. So as you can see here, like this is blog. Blog.
Blog.
Yeah, blog. You have to say it in one breath. There's only one vowel here. So you have to say this in one breath because there's only one vowel. Blog. Now in Japanese, this is called burogu. Burogu is 3 sounds. Right. But in English, it's blog. It's one sound. Blog. One syllable. In English, you hear words and you hear the rhythm with these beats. So one beat, blog is only one beat. So if you say blog, like blog or blogu or something like that where you put more vowels in there than are in the actual word,
Yeah, right.
then the listener doesn't know what you're talking about because that's how you recognize words. When you recognize a word, you have to hear the number of syllables correctly.
Right.
Yeah. So blog has to be one syllable and no more. And so that's what you got to be careful about. So here I've underlined the blend. Blog. Okay.
Blog.
Do not put an extra vowel between the blend. Very common mistake is blog.
Blog.
This next one is dream. Dream is the same consonant blend as your example of drum.
Yeah, like what I said.
Drum or dream.
Dream.
The mistake is to put a vowel between, like dream. Don't say dream, just say dream.
Yeah. We tend to say that.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And the rest of these are the same. Trim. Snow. Street. This one has 3.
But just one syllable and just one sound.
This is one, yeah. Street. This is one syllable, so do not say street.
Street. Yeah.
If you say street, that's street. That's 3 syllables. and you will not be understood. Yeah. You have to say street in one vowel only. This next one is a little bit interesting because TH right here, TH is not a blend. TH is two letters that make one sound. And we didn't cover these, but when you have two letters like this that make one sound, it's called a digraph.
I've never heard of that.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't make a slide for digraph.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
The
D-I-G-R
APH.
APH.
Digraph. So, yeah, digraph. So this one is kind of hard because you have to blend from a digraph to another letter. So throw.
Throw.
Throw. Yeah. It's one syllable again. Throw. If you say thorough, then that sounds like a different word. You know thorough? Oh, sorry. It sounds like thorough. Sorry, I messed up the spelling, but thorough. If you put an extra syllable, it sounds like thorough right here. So do not do that. Do not put an extra syllable.
Thorough.
Yeah, throw.
Throw.
Okay. All right, everybody got that so far, listeners?
I think so, and I hope so. So let's make some time so that viewers can explain and understand and practice.
Okay. So these are the consonants that these are the blends that happen at the beginning of a syllable. Okay. Log, dream, trim, snow, street, and
throw. Okay.
This next column shows blends that can happen at the end of a syllable, such as end. This end.
End. End.
Do not say endo. Say
endo. End. Sounds like a human's name. Someone's name.
Yeah.
Endo. Okay.
Act.
Act.
Not akuta. It's act.
Act.
Last.
Last.
Lamp.
Lamp.
Yeah.
Lamp. Lamp.
And left.
Left.
Yeah. And first. First is three consonants, but it's still one blend.
First.
First. Okay. So blend can happen at the beginning or the end of a syllable.
Let me just let me talk about what happened to me in the past.
Okay.
So related to the middle thing. この最後の last とか first とかって、なので僕がネイティブの人と喋ってる時に言われたのが、結構僕たちその初めの音には結構フォーカスするんですけど、このさっき大室さんが説明してくれたこの last とか first とか、この first とかの最後の音を結構僕はしばらく適当に言ってたらしくて、ネイティブの人からしたらそこをはっきり言わないとすごい舌足らずに聞こえるからちゃんと言った方がいいよって指摘されたことがあるんですけど、大室さん、is it right?
Yeah, I agree.
最後の first とか。
You have to, they're just as important. They're part of the syllable. Right? The beginning of the syllable, the vowel, and the end of the syllable. They're all very important. Because that's one unit of sound. I think we talked about syllables way back in, I don't remember what month, like 4 or 5 episodes ago. We talked about syllables and the whole shape of the syllable that's important. Right?
Exactly.
The beginning of the syllable, the vowel, and the end of the syllable.
Yeah, this is the same.
It's all important. That makes the whole sound. And then you have more than one of these syllables that makes a word, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
Every syllable has to be clear. Every syllable has to be there. So please do make please do pronounce these very clearly.
Yep, right.
Okay?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so the last column on my slide here is examples of blends that happen at the beginning and the end of one syllable. For example, the word blend actually has a blend at the beginning and at the end. Blend. And this is all one sound, one vowel, one syllable. So you have to say it in one beat. Blend.
Blend.
Actually, right here you have blends.
Blends.
This NDS is also a blend. Right? This S at the end, you have to say the S at the end without adding a syllable. So blend. Blends.
Right. Blends in blends.
Okay. Next one is drink.
Drink.
Yeah. Dr and nk. Trust. Grasp.
Grasp.
Thrift.
Thrift.
And starch.
Starch.
Yeah. This one here is RCH. CH is a digraph again because it's two consonants that make one sound. Does everybody understand the difference between a digraph and a blend? Because this is it's important because like TR is two letters, but they are distinct sounds. T and R make tr, right? It's two different sounds. But in this case, the TH is only one sound. It's okay. Here also, CH is one sound. It's ch. Okay. But like CT here is it's two sounds, right? Right. So this is a digraph, and this is a blend, right? But this is a blend because it goes from an R into a digraph. Yeah, that's why it's a blend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So now that I've gone over these blends, again, I want to emphasize that please do not insert an additional vowel between the two sounds of a blend or three sounds of a blend. Okay. And like I was saying earlier, of most of the Japanese people I speak to who are learning English, whenever a person can do these blends cleanly, I think it makes their English sound very natural.
This is a key to the
this is one of the very important
correct
keys.
pronunciation.
Getting the right vowels is also important, but the number of syllables is even more important. If you have the number of syllables correct, then the listener can sort of guess.
Right.
If you say, for example, fish instead of fish, or if you say, I don't know, if we want to go with one of the words on this list, if you say like drink instead of drink, or or lost instead of last, you can sort of guess. But if you say last instead of last, then the listener doesn't know what because you have the wrong number of syllables. So the syllables is more important than the actual vowel.
So what you're saying here is the key factor to be understood is the syllable. So our understanding is based on the syllable and rhythm.
Correct. Syllables and rhythm, yeah. So the rhythm is very important.
Very important.
Now, all the words I gave so far are one syllable. Every single word so far. Okay. So if you have a word with more than one syllable, it's more important. So let me give you an example of that. So back here, the next page is just the word syllables. Okay. So like I've been talking about syllables, they're very important. Now, syllables, the word syllables is split into syllables like this. Still, la, bulls. Yeah. In general, there is one syllable for each vowel. Okay,
うん、う
so
ん、
this Y is one vowel, this A is one vowel,
うん、
and this E is one vowel.
うん、
Okay, so there's going to be one syllable for each vowel.
うん、
So that's one way you can tell the number of syllables that are going to be in a word.
うん、
In this case, for the word syllables,
うん、
um, this is the point you have to be careful about.
うん、うん。syllables.
Yeah.
うん。So how should we care?
What you should do is you should be careful not to insert an extra vowel here.
うん、うん、
The reason that happens is because in Japanese, you write this.
うん、
And if you were to say it like that, it ends up being like this word.
うん。
Syllabulu.
syllable.
Yeah.
うん。
Okay. So
Sounds
it's
weird.
supposed to be syllable, which has 3 syllables.
うん。
But if you say syllabalu, then it has 4 syllables, right?
うん。 syllable.
Yeah. So I hope our listeners understand so far.
うん。I think so. もしなんか見てて、なんかわかんないこととかあったら、どんどん、ハッシュタグなり、僕なりのメンションでも、なんか、ちょっと日本語で説明してほしいところとか、ちょっと僕もなんとか、説明するようにはするので、なんかもしあったら、ぜひ教えてください。Okay. Okay, let's keep moving on.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about what happens if you say it like this.
うん、
Syllabalu, right?
うん。
The listener says, what?
うん。
Because
syllable? うん。
they don't recognize this. They don't recognize what this could be. So they try a couple things in their head, right?
They can't even imagine.
Right. They can't match it up with anything.
Right.
So they give up.
Oh, I give up. Right. うん。
So that's what I want to talk about.
うん。
Okay. That's why number of syllables is very important.
うん。
And for example, native speakers who have a lot of experience speaking with Japanese people.
ああ。
For example, maybe native speakers who teach English in Japan
Right.
have experience talking with Japanese people.
うん。
Also, I speak Japanese also, so I kind of understand characteristics of the Japanese language. So if someone said syllabalu to me or one of these people, we can guess. We can say, oh, they might be inserting
Right.
vowel somewhere, and we can figure it out sometimes.
Based
But-
on your experience.
Correct.
Mm.
But I think most people who are not used to speaking with Japanese people will not understand what you're saying.
Never. うん。Right. これ多分、逆も言えるのかなと思って、今って、その、日本人が、その、how we can pronounce English correctly だけど、その逆に、なんていうんだろう、そのシラブルをちゃんと理解することで、向こうの人が何て言ってるかっていうのもちゃんとこっちはわかるというか、今こっちがそのインコレクトな英語を言ったら向こうの人がわかんないのと同じで、結局向こうが言ってるもののシラブルを理解してないと、こっちの頭にそれこそ経験がないから反応しないですよね、結局。なんて言ってるのかがわかんないというか。だから両方大事というか。something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you have any experience with that? Have you heard of that? I mean,
Yeah,
have you had a problem?
that happens. That always happens to me. だからその、なんだろうね、その、when I hear some words or phrases or sentences, so that I really don't understand well, は、じゃって、やっぱりその、なんてみたいな。What did you just say? とか、 うん。What's that? ってやっぱりなるし、でもやっぱり後からなんか例えばスクリプトとか見て、なんか文字的に分かったり、一回分かってしまうと、もう次からはそれ通りに聞こえるというか、あ、これこう言ってんだっていうのはすごく分かるので、やっぱりちょっと正しいものを一回理解しておくのはすごい大事なのかなとは思いますね。
Okay.
うん。
There's a question on Twitter for us.
Uh-huh. So I didn't check it.
Yeah.
Is it with the hashtag?
Yeah.
Okay. ああ、シラブルの数はどうやって判断できますか？なんか、なんていうの、この単語は何シラブルかとかってことは。それってどうなんですか、大野さん。基本的に母音の数、
Mm.
でもあれか、なん
It's
て
the
いうの
number of vowel sounds.
うん。
So
In general.
sometimes, do you remember when I was saying there's digraphs?
うん。
Digraph is two letters that make one sound.
うん。
But there's also digraphs for vowels.
うん。
Like if you see EE,
right. Just
that's
wondering.
EE is only one E, one sound.
Right.
E. Okay.
Employee.
And that's called a digraph also.
うん。
But if it's a vowel, it's also called a diphthong.
うん。
Okay.
うん。
But in that case, the whole diphthong is only one vowel sound.
うん。
So you have to recognize the number of vowel sounds inside of a
うん
word.
そういうことだね。だから文字的に母音がいくつかじゃなくて、音として母音がいくつかをベースに判断すればいいと。うん。まあでも、なんて言うんだろう、この単語が、シラブルがいくつかって数えることは、というよりは、なんて言うんだろう、プラクティカルな視点で言うと、ね、なんて言うんだろう、数がいくつかというよりは、どう聞こえるかっていうことをしっかり理解することが、まずは大事って感じですよね。Right?
The hard part about this, the hard part about this is that as native speakers, we are counting the syllables, but we are not doing it consciously.
あ
It happens automatically.
yeah, that's what I want to learn from you.
It happens automatically, so we're not there counting the syllables. We're not going, okay, separated. We're not doing that. We just sort of remember that the word separated has 4 syllables. So if you say separated and you add a syllable or you take away a syllable, then we don't recognize it. That's all it is. We're not really, for example, if you have a Japanese word like, I don't know, like let's say keidenwa or something, and somebody says the word but takes off a syllable, like they say keita denwa or something, then you know there's something, right? You know it's a different word, right? But you're not like saying it's supposed to be 7 but now there's only 6. You don't really count. You just know that the word is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like that. We're not really counting. We do it automatically.
I think
there's something wrong.
That's how the mother tongue works for us.
Right.
まあ、どっちも大事というか、まあ、なんて言うんだろうね。僕らはやっぱりネイティブスピーカーじゃないので、なんて言うんだろう。音声学的にというか、ね、これがシラブル何個でとか、そういうのももちろん知識としては大事だけど、まあ、プラクティカルな、で、実際それをどういうのとかっていう、そういう実技というか、技術的に言えることも大事だから、まあ、両方、ね、we should focus on two aspects.
I'm always talking about pronunciation. So, pronunciation will always require practice.
Exactly.
You really have to speak it. You have to speak the language. You have to listen to the language.
Every single day.
as much as possible. And so pronunciation is about sound. So you listen to a word, and then you recognize the number of syllables it has because you listen to the word enough times. Okay. If you hear the word bread, that's one syllable. If you hear the word enough times, you'll understand that you hear that one word with the one syllable means bread. Now if someone says bread, then that feels like a different word. It's not the same one syllable.
Right.
And so you have to sort of get to the level of where those sound different to you. If bread and bread sound the same to you, that means that your mindset isn't quite in the way English speakers think.
That's the point. That's the point.
Right.
そうだね。ちょっと説明させてください。多分分かったと思うんですけど、なんていうんだろう、やっぱり英語の音そのものが、bread と bread が、その違いがちょっとまだ全然よくわからない段階だと、あんまりちょっと、なんていうんだろう、音にまだ慣れていない段階というか、体に馴染んでないというか、なんか違うなって気持ち悪く感じるようになれば、ある程度のそのレベルに達してきたっていうことなんで、まずはそこまでしっかりたどり着くまで、大村さんがよく言ってる、オーディオブック見たり、読んだり聞いたり、いろいろな、なんだろう、側面から英語に慣れて、まずそこのレベルまで行ったら、あとは毎日、ね、requires practice なので、練習したり、ね、してみて、っていう感じですよね。
I don't remember, a couple times back when we were doing syllables or we were doing something, I talked about my little girl who is also trying to speak English. She claps the sounds out when she's. That's one of the things she practices. So, elephant, things like that. That's one way for you to feel the rhythm, is to clap out the words. Consonant. You'll see that there's only one beat for blend, and there's 3 beats for consonant. So clapping is a way to get into the beat.
Right.
And if you get into the beat, then your body will get used to thinking in beats, thinking in syllables. So that's probably a good exercise.
Oh. Is that what Americans do? Or did you come up like clapping hands?
No.
Wait.
When I was in 1st grade, I saw a 3rd grader doing that on the school bus. And then when I was in 3rd grade, the teacher had us do that. So yeah, it's everybody probably does it.
Cool. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's next?
What's next is actually very similar. I actually don't have any slides for this next part, but the next one is the other mistake that is very common.
Okay.
I hope people are understanding my English. Okay. In this case, we're going to talk about connecting words. Like last time we talked about the concept of liaison. Liaison is when you take two words, or not last time, maybe it was the time before the last. We talked about liaison, where you try to connect 2 words together smoothly. Right. And one of the examples I gave, I think, was black cat.
Black cat?
Yeah.
I don't remember it well. But,
I don't remember the exact one. I often bring that one up, so I probably talked about black cat. Okay. Now, when you say black cat, you don't say black cat. If you say black cat, then again you're introducing an extra syllable. Black cat. Yeah. Black cat is only black is 1 syllable, and then cat is another syllable. So you want to say it in 2 syllables. Black cat. Right? So if you have to, we kind of smush the k together.
Mm.
So black cat. You don't say black cat, because if you do, black cat is okay because you're not actually adding a vowel. But if you actually say black cat, then you have a problem because you're actually adding this after the k, the first. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. もし分からなかったらなんか教えてください。まあでも全然その前に少しカバーしたそのねリエゾンの部分とまあそのブラックキャットがブラックキャットにはならない。そこのシラブルをその追加してしまうことで一応その元々にないリズムになってしまって結局ネイティブスピーカーからしたらもう想像もつかないものになってしまうんでちょっとややこしくなっちゃうっていうことですね。
Right. It's very difficult. And like I said, I could understand you, and most, if you have an English teacher in Japan, they will understand you just because they're used to it.
Right.
One of the bad cases is for like a visitor from America or who is used to Japanese pronunciation, and they will understand you. And they will think it's rude, so they won't correct you. If they don't correct you, you will never learn that it's wrong. Right? So you're going to have this weird situation where foreigners in Japan will understand you, but if you go to a foreign country, you will not be good.
Wow.
Yeah. I've heard of that problem before, where foreigners in Japan understand me, but when I go somewhere, nobody understands me. Common problem. So one thing that might be a good idea is please ask a foreigner to fix your English for you. It's actually, you're asking for a lot, so they might say, but I think it's a good idea. If they're willing to do that, you should ask them to fix your English.
Right. Then we can learn.
Yeah, then you can learn.
そうですね。まあ、その、なかなかね、やっぱり発音とかって、なんて言うんだろう、その目の前の人にちょっと直してくださいねとか、言ってくれないと、その相手もね、その、なんて言うんだろう、ネイティブスピーカーとかで、なんかこの人ちょっと、なんか違うなと思っても、僕らも別にそれは外国人、日本語を喋ってる人に直さないじゃないですか、いちいち。それと一緒で、やっぱりちゃんと直してねって言って、ちゃんとこう、ね、そのコレクトしてもらうことがやっぱり大事というか、でそうやってそのなんていうのそのマインドセットというか意識の部分を高めていくこともすごい大事ですよね、きっととは思いますね。
Okay, so so we just covered the case with the black cat or black cat, black coffee. I don't remember right.
Something like that.
A common one I hear is like sometimes when you're speaking and you need to buy time. Buy time. It's like you need time to think. So you use words like or and you buy time. Right. So sometimes you'll say like if, and then I'm thinking if we something. But when you buy time and you're holding on to the F, like if, that's notice I'm just breathing from the same if, like if. See, it's not a new vowel. It's not if right? Because if I say if then you're putting a vowel on the F. Then you're not saying if, you're saying ifa. And ifa is a different syllable. So now the listener doesn't understand ifa. They think they want, if you say ifa, you can't do that. So recently I heard if we, but I heard ifa we. And if you say ifa we instead of if we, that's a different, we don't recognize that. We don't understand if you say ifa we. You have to say if we. Okay. So I can give many examples of this. Like consonant blend. If you say consonant to blend, I can't understand. Or if they, I think the other one I heard was stop that, but instead of stop that, I heard stop that.
Stop that.
And again, I don't understand what that means. Well, I do, but most people will not understand. So you have to be careful not to introduce extraneous vowels. Okay. So those are actually the two items I wanted to cover today. Okay. They're both actually related to syllables. They're both about adding extra syllables, and they are easy for Japanese people to make that mistake because Japanese always has a vowel after every consonant. So when a Japanese person learns English, they have to be careful about this point. Do not add a vowel after
extra one. 今日その2つカバーした前半の子連結、あとは後半のリエゾンって言っちゃっていいんですかね。音がこうつながるところっていうのが僕たちが日本語というものを母語にしてる人がその英語を話すときにやっぱり一番ネックになるというかってことですよね。そのリズムの部分、あとはやっぱりサウンドの部分にすごく影響してくるので、やっぱり僕も日本人としての視点から言うと、やっぱり日本語がベースになった英語か、大野さんが冒頭で言ってたすごくナチュラルに発音できる人と、そうじゃない人の差っていうのは、やっぱりそこが大きいんですかね。日本語の、影響というか、そこが少ない人がやっぱりナチュラルに聞こえるのかな。どうなんだろう。大野さんは、what do you think is the difference between people who are very good at pronouns?
The people who have, I guess it's the people who are able to approach English and think of it as being separate from Japanese. Like you have to realize that when you're trying to do English, the same rules don't apply. You have to put yourself into a different mindset. And sometimes the things you have to do are not very comfortable for your mouth because you're not used to it. And I don't blame you. It's not your fault. Things are different, and you just have to get used to it. And I think it's okay if you don't know how to do it at the beginning.
Right. だから英語のルールは日本語には適用できないし、日本語のルールはそれはね、英語には適用できないし、もう別のものとして、しっかり意識を分けて勉強する。勉強というか、慣れていくことで、英語は英語としての成長というか、日本語は日本語のままで。だからどうなんだろう、カタカナ使って、デュオ。ね、in the meeting, we talked about duo. How duo describes.
Do you have the duo book?
あるかな。
Handy, hopefully. No? Yeah, sorry guys. I was planning on bringing the duo book here, but I forgot.
ダメだ。
No?
もうさ、I couldn't find it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess it's okay, but the question I had was, does the duo book use katakana for the pronunciation key? I think it does. So that's one thing I would be very careful about, because if you use katakana to approximate, you understand approximate, right? If you use katakana to approximate the pronunciation of an English word, then you're going to introduce these extra sounds, especially with blends, because there's no way to express a blend using katakana.
Right. As I mentioned in the meeting, so duo tries to follow the original sound and rhythm. syllables。まあだから、デ
Right.
ュオは、なんていうんだろうね、結構、中高生向けに、もともと作られてるあれでもあるから、なんか、やっぱり、カタカナとか、カタカナ、ひらがなも使ってるんですけど、なんていうんだろうね、まあ、馴染めるようにっていう意味で、ひらがな、カタカナ使われてて、で、まあ、それはやっぱり限界もありますよね。それこそ TH のその先のダイアグラフとか、書けないものとかもあるので、まあ、妥協してる部分もあるんですけど、まあ、できる限り、
Mm.
ナチュラルに、しようとしてはいると思います。
Um,
まあ、うん、
so if you use Duo, just be
うん、
careful not to
sure,
add.
うん、
So I think then you'll be fine if you can just remember like the question we just answered. Look at the number of vowel sounds
う
in
ん、
each
うん、う
word,
ん、うん。
and you'll know how many syllables to
Right,
pronounce.
right. ですね。今日はどうなんだろう。ちょっと実験的に、大物さん英語で、僕が日本語でやってみたんですけど、みんな、でもね、やっぱりね、こういう時ってみんなこう集中して聞いてるから、大物さんが喋ってることを、あんまり
Mm.
ね、質問が来ないんですよ。みんなjust everybody tries to focus on what you're saying. でもね、おそらく、やっぱりすごい貴重な話というか、大野さんから見て、日本人の人が、どういう、ね、どういう誤解だったり、間違いをするかっていうところをフォーカスしていくのはすごい大事だと、ね、思います。この今日の2点、すごい、うん、ね、大事というか、まあ、しっかり違うもんだっていうことをまず理解しないといけないですよね。そもそも。うん。大野さん、他に何か
Um, Actually,
あり
that's
ます
all I got for
で
today.
す
We
か？
kind of finished a little bit earlier than we were thinking,
う
but
ん。
maybe if anyone has any questions,
うん。
I'd be happy to answer them. Or if you have
うん。
anything you want to ask me, I can answer them.
On this later? On Twitter or on your blog? After
Uh,
this show? Or...
yeah, you can ask questions on
うん。
Twitter
う
after
ん。
the show if you want
う
to.
ん。
But go ahead and ask on Twitter now,
うん。
or um,
うん。うん。うん。まあ、今のところは来てないかな。でもやっぱりね、発音ってね、あれなんですよね。僕もすごい気持ちわかるんですけど、質問しづらいんですよね。
mm,
うん。こう、提示してくれたら、あ、そうなんだってわかるんだけど、結局自分が何に、何がうまくいってないからうまくいかないのかとか、質問をするのも難しいというか、
mm,
うん。だからなんか、なんだろうな。
um,
まあでも、うん。今日言ってく
yeah,
れたことはすごい大事だと思うし。
yeah. I'm
うん。
Uh, so maybe we can just talk a little bit,
うんうん。
and maybe I hope the listeners can
あ
understand.
あ、right, right, yes. Yes.
Like I was saying, well, I mentioned this to you earlier a little bit, but I I was trying to think about if there's a way for learners to practice and get better at their pronunciation
うん。
by themselves alone, right?
うん。
For example, like I said, I regularly try to teach pronunciation to about 10 people right now.
At the same
Um,
time.
well, no, no, not at the same time. I mean individually,
うん。
right? And I can tell that these people are improving. They get better as I talk to them. But that's because I'm able to point out their mistakes every time.
うん。
And as I point them out, they fix them.
うん。
But right now, I haven't really been able to come up with a way for people to improve their
あ
pronunciation on their own.
あ。How about singing songs in English?
I mean, that works, but the problem is that remember when we did the hangout on
うん。
the consonants,
うん。
and we did uh, trying to differentiate between L and R?
う
Remember that?
ん。うん。
And I would say the word and then you try to guess if it's the L or the R.
Yeah, that's what I
It's very
say.
difficult. It's very difficult because most people don't have they're not used to hearing L's differently from R's. Okay. So if you don't know how to tell the difference between there's no way for a person to train themselves. You need you need a third party to be able to guide.
Right.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I would like to, it would be nice if we can come up with an answer for.
そうだね。だから、なんだろうね、the first thing we have to focus on is like try to understand how English sounds work. で、how we can pronounce each word. 一個一個、なんていうんだろうね、R はこうやって聞こえたり、こういうふうに言うんだよっていう、その仕組みそもそもを理解したら、あとは練習ができるけど、それすら練習してない状態では、さっき僕が言った歌を歌うとかっていうことすら、まあ、練習にもうならないってことですよね、要は。
そう。ちょっとごめんなさい。日本語で説明しますね。英語の音を聞いて、それで自分の英語と例の英語っていうのが違うのに、その違いを聞き分けるトレーニングができてないっていうとちょっとなんかサボってるように聞こえるんですけど、そうじゃなくて、そもそも日本語を一生喋ってきた人っていうのは、そういうふうにこの音を聞き分けることができないわけですよね。
そうですね。
はい。なので、自分がこう正しく言ってるつもりでも、聞こえた音、例えば、発音のトレーニングの CD とか聞いて、こういうふうに言ってくださいみたいなのを聞いても、自分が聞こえた音と自分が発音してる音が自分には同じように聞こえるのに、ネイティブに言わせてみると違いますっていうのはあると思うんですよ。
まあね。
なので、自分で訓練するのって難しいですよね。
難しいと思う。でそれはだって僕も、今まで自分一人でやってきたので、やっぱり、なんて言うんだろう、まだまだうまくできてないところも当然あるし、長年誤解してた部分もあるし、それこそアクセント一つ、音一つにとっても、ずっと誤解したまま行く。で、やっぱり発音でね、僕やっぱり一番思うのは、やっぱりね、さっき大室さんが言ったことすごい大事だと思うんですけど、直してくれないと、やっぱり発音って気づかないんですよね、要は。なんて言うんだろう、だから自分の、僕すごいね、よく例に挙げるんですけど、発音と、ファッションってすごい似てると思うんですよね。なんて言うんだろう、もともとファッションセンスがもともとすごい優れてる人なんていなくて、結局他の人を見たりとか、この人の真似いいな、かっこいいなって真似したりして、ファッションセンスってこう、磨かれていくもんじゃないですか。だから発音とかも一緒で、結局、生まれながらにすごい発音が、第二言語の発音がいい人なんて、それは当然いないわけだから、なんかこう盗むこととか、あとやっぱり仕組みを知ることとか、なんか、なんていうんだろうね。で、直してもらったら、いや、ちょっとその服出さないみたいな。その服変じゃない言われるまで気づかなかったり、悪気があってしてるわけじゃないというか、そこはなんか大事なのかな。で、まあ発音ってね、やっぱり難しいと思いますし、やっぱりなかなか、そう、僕もね、だからずっと思うのは、この発音がすごい上手い人と、やっぱり明らかな例だったらすごいわかると思うんですよ。超絶上手い人と、全然ダメな人と。でも、多くの場合ってその中間ぐらいというか、なんか、良くも悪くもないというか、ね、それ当然僕もその間に入るんですけど、なんか、いや、悪くないけど、むちゃく良くもないけど、何が違うんだろうみたいな。そこをなんかこう、はっきり解明されるとすごい、あれですよね、みんなにとってすごいいいですよね。と思うんですけど、どうですか？それが難しいんですけどね。
Well, I agree with you. I think that is the hard part.
Right. Hardest part. ねえ。まあ、 大村さん、ラストというか、次どうします？ What we're gonna do
Um,
is like a last English hangout focusing on pronunciation.
next time I'm thinking of actually coming up with actual sentences.
うんうんうん
Uh,
うんうん。
that I'm going to have some people
Yeah,
pronounce some sentences for
yeah.
us,
Oh, sounds cool.
and we will talk about the parts that can be fixed about the
Yeah,
sentence.
right, right. So that we
Yeah,
can practice each
that's right.
sentence, right?
That's right.
うんうん
Yeah.
うんうん。あ、それいいかも。
I'll try to bring a couple examples next time.
Wow,
Um,
thanks. うん。それ、すごい、あれかね、有益かもわかんないですね。今日僕たちが、今日というか、まあ、これまでのハンガアウトずっとカバーしてきたことが、最終的に一つの文章になって、ね。で、大野さん、僕がその文章とか、ちょっと代表で読んでみたりするんで、なんか、コレクトというか、ここがお
oh,
かしいみたいな、してみれば、多分、わかりやすいかもわかんないですよね。どこを勘違いしてて、どこが変だからどうなのかみたいな。
and
う
also I
ん。
was going to bring some examples of maybe some people going through that process.
うん、うん、うん。
If someone gives me permission.
うん。
If one of the people I'm teaching might
う
give me
ん。
permission to
うん。
bring up their example on the show,
right,
then
right.
well maybe I'll have someone read a sentence, and then
う
we'll
ん。
point out things that could be fixed.
Wow.
At the end, you can hear the fixed version, and maybe we
right.
can compare and see how much better they get.
うん。Are you gonna record? Like using your iPhone or
That's right. Yeah,
something?
yeah,
う
we'll
ん。
record
Wow.
it. Yeah.
いいですね。僕も実はね、よく、日本人とが海外の人とのミーティングとか、そのコンベンション的なカンファレンスとか、たまに出るんで、僕もね、結構音源素材としては実は持ってるんですよ。日本人
Mm.
が喋ってる時の英語で、ただね、僕やっぱ許可をもらってないから、ここでちょっと出すのは、ちょっとあれなのかなと思って。ただね、僕
Mm.
もやっぱりずっと、やっぱりすごく気にしてるんですよ。その、
Mm.
何が違うんだろうって、このすごい、なんかこう、ちゃんとこう、あ、英語喋ってるな、この人っていう人と、そうじゃない人、ちょっと聞いてみます？一瞬だからわかんないでしょ。いくつかね、持ってるんですよ。多分皆さんもね、聞きたいと思うんですけど、ちょっと僕、上手い人の英語ちょっと聞いてみます？
Barriers to entry are extremely high. How do I go into a market where the regulations are so stiff and
聞こえ
so
ます？
stringent that there's no way I'm going to make it into this business? And it's very relevant that we're going to be focusing on one industry in particular on this theme, and that is the business of aviation. Because as you know, in many countries,
これもほとんどもうネイティブでしょ。これ、日本人なんですよ。これ、
すごいです。
うん。ちょっとじゃあ、他の人聞いてみます？これね、僕がね、とあるメディアカンファレンスに出た時の、レコーディングなんですよね。
It is famous for good policy to encourage entrepreneurship. And also there's a TechS, Finnish funding agency for technology and investment. And also you co-founded Thrush Conference. It's one of the biggest startup conferences in Europe. What's the importance of
う
aviation?
んうんうん。
Mm.
とか、まあなんかいろんなタイプのね、ちょっと音源、ちょっと僕も持ってたりして、ちょっと、でも大室さんが、どういうのをね、取ってきてくれて、で、どういうふうに分析するかってすごく、多分他の人にもすごい、なんというか、勉強になるというか、と思うので、ね、ぜひ、we should do that.
Okay, so
うん。
so today my biggest concern is whether people were able to keep up with English.
うん。
Yeah. I hope people were able to either understand
う
or,
ん。
maybe with your explanations they
う
were able to
ん。い
put
や、
two
ほ
and
ん
two together and understand
I hope they could understand. And we need feedbacks.
Yeah, a feedback. If
ね、
you want us to never do this again, then let us know, and we won't.
we won't. でも、やっぱりそう、僕もせっかくそのね、大野さんと一緒にこうやってやってて、やっぱりその、なんて言うんだろう、その話の大半が日本語になってしまうっていうのはちょっとどうなのかなと思ってた部分はあるんで、やっぱり聞いてる人もね、こう分かんなくてもこうついていってこう頑張って理解しようっていうのはすごく大事だと思うんで、I think that works well.
Okay.
という感じで、ちょうど1時間ですね。あっという間の1時間でした。発音いろいろ悩ましい部分はあると思いますけど、またいろんな知識と、あとは練習ですね。日々の練習。あとはやっぱりその、大野さんがさっき言ったその、どうコレクトしてもらうかですよね。その辺もなんかうまく体系化できたらいいんですけどね。なんか、ちょっといろいろ考えていきましょう。僕もちょっと、I'm gonna figure out.
I mean, I've been trying to think about it, but I don't have any good answers yet. I don't even know if there is an answer to do it by yourself. Yeah, I think it would be nice if there was a way, but really, I think for now you just have to have a person correct you, sort of like your fashion example, right? There's no way if you were by yourself, you can't improve your fashion sense, right? It's the same thing.
そうだね。あとは自分で撮ってみたりね。なんかね、そう、撮ってみて、なんかその音源を、こう、音源のやり取りでなんかこの、ね、そのコレクトする、その発音のなんかこう、プログラムというか、なんか、ね、ちょっといろいろ考えてるんですけど、なかなか悩ましいですね。でもちょっと堂々巡りになっちゃうけど、でも楽しみながらね、発音っていうのは、その、やっぱり、なんかこう、この人は上手い、この人は下手、だから下手人だからダメ、上手いからすごいとかじゃなくて、やっぱり、一つの個性をベースにした話で、なんて言うんだろう、その、伝わんないと、やっぱり、相手にちょっとこうストレスというか、負荷をかけてしまうので、やっぱり、最終的にはね、コミュニケーションを、スムーズに、その、活かせるために、最低限の、
So,
you should come up with something.
If you have the wrong number of syllables, then that's one thing. I told you that some people like foreign people in Japan can understand, but you're still giving them extra work. They're making them think about more than they should.
そうだね。余計な仕事を一つ。
Now, I don't remember if I talked about this on this show, but I think that there's 3 very important points that everybody needs to be proficient at. There's 3 different skills that people need to be proficient about. And if I've already talked about on the show, I think it's okay because that's important. I'm going to say it again. Okay. There's important skills that you need to be proficient with in order to have a conversation. And the first one is vocabulary. You have to have enough tools to communicate your thoughts.
Right.
And the second one is your ability to come up with sentences and to understand the other person's sentences. So you have to have a sense of grammar, and you have to know what to say. Okay? And the third one is pronunciation, so that you can be understood and you can understand what the other person is saying. So with these skills, I think you can have a conversation.
一つ目語彙で、二つ目がなんていうんですか、その実行力というか、なんていうんだ、言語運用能力というか、言いたいことが。
とかも含めて、
そうだね。
英語の、なんて言いますかね、語順とかそういうのも含めて。
そうか、文法とかも含めて、文章が。
能力ですかね。
なるほど。
それと、最後に発音。ある程度揃うといいんですけど、なんか、例えば、それぞれの方が お話ししてるとわかるんですけど、その3つのものについてレベルが結構バラバラなんですね。だからこの人は発音がいいのに、なんか語彙がまだあんまりないなとか、あるいは、この人すごい言葉いっぱいしてるのに、ちょっと発音が良くないなっていう人もいて、そういう場合は例えば発音が良くないけど、もう語彙とか文法がすごいいい人っていうのは発音だけ頑張ればいいわけですよね。逆に発音いいけど、言葉の選び方がまだなってないとか、そういう人もいらっしゃるので、そういう場合はいくら発音が良くても、他のものをちょっと頑張ってもらいたいなっていうのもあるので、例えばさっき言われたみたいに、発音がいいからとか、発音が良くないからって言っても、他のスキルで、逆に自分よりいいっていう人もいる場合があるので。
そうですよね。まあいろんな側面があるから、なんていうんだろう。まあ本はカバーでジャッジできないじゃないけど、いろんな側面を見ながら、でもあとはwe should strike the balance ってことですね。足りない部分は上げて、こう、バランスよく、さっき言った、大村さんが言った3つ、語彙と、英語を理解する、まあ、言語能力というか、そこと発音、バランスよく、ね、そのファンダメンタルの部分を鍛えていくことが大事ということですよね。はい。ということで、今日も非常に勉強になりました。見てくれた人でも何かまた質問とかあれば、追加でね、さっき言った大室さんが、後で答えてくれたり、まあ、大室さんも、なんていうんだろう、ブログでね、いつもまとめてくれてるんで、そこに何か思い出したこととか追加してくれるかもわかんないですし。ということで、Thanks for tonight.
Okay.
That's all. ということで、本当にありがとうございました、大室さん。また来月もね、最後の総まとめというか、楽しみにしてますので。
はい。
はい。では、皆さんもまた月曜日遅くまでありがとうございました。ではでは。